So if I want to communicate with you, then I have to talk in a language that you can understand, right? In the same way, I have to communicate with a computer with a language that computer can understand. That is nothing but what? Binary language, zeros and ones. I cannot use the same software for multiple purpose. Then it will going to be limited resources. So this machine level programming languages will going to have two parts. One is opcode and another one is operand. Hello everybody, welcome to the first session on chapter 4, that is software concepts. I am Rohini TS from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Mysuru. So from this chapter, that is what chapter 4 software concept, totally you are going to get 5 marks. So this is regarding marks distribution or a blueprint that you can say. So you are going to get one 2-mark question and one 3 marks question from this chapter. So totally you will be getting 2 questions and that too for 5 marks. So in our today's session, we are going to learn about the introduction part of this chapter. What do you mean by this software concept? Why we require this software? Then what do you mean by software? And what are the types of software we have? And how we are going to give the commands to the computer by making use of this computer language. So let me get into the today's session, that is regarding what? Introduction to software concept. So as we all know that computer is an electronic machine. So we are going to give the instruction to the computer, then it will going to process, that means it will going to perform the computation part, then it will going to give us an output, right? So that is what regarding what do you mean by computer. Then what computer can understand? So computer understands only zeros and ones. So if I want to communicate with you, then I have to talk in a language that you can understand, right? In the same way, I have to communicate with a computer with a language that computer can understand. That is nothing but what? Binary language, zeros and ones. So as we all know that computer is a dumb machine without software. So that is what? Computer comprises of hardware, software, and in order to make a use of that, we must have a user, right? So when it comes to the hardware is nothing but it is an electronic component of a computer that we can touch and feel, that can be seen to our naked eyes. That is what we can call that as a hardware. So hardware includes what? Keyboard will be there, motherboard will be there, and what we have mouse, scanner, those are all what? Hardware components of a computer. And then what do you mean by software? Software is nothing but that is a set of instruction. That is what? Set of instruction that will going to assist the computers in order to do the work. Then who is user? A person, one who is using the computer will be termed as what? User. So here you can see that computer comprises of what? There will be hardware, software and user will be there. So hardware is nothing but what? It consists of a physical component of a computer system that can be touched and that can be felt. Okay, so software is nothing but that is a set of instruction. We are going to use that set of instruction and that will going to tell the computer in order to perform an intended task. So user is a person, one who is using a computer or one who is writing a program in order to make the computer work. Okay, these are the basic things that you have to understand. So without software, computer is a dumb machine. So we cannot interact with a computer, then we can't work anything with a computer. That is why software is very, very important. Then what are the types of software we have? So we have 2 categories of a software that has been classified into system software and application software. Can we touch the software? Can we feel the software? That is what? Big no. We can't touch and we can't feel the software. Just we can work with it and we can get done the work by using software. So we have 2 categories in the software, that is what? Application software and a system software. So now we'll see what do you mean by this system software. As we all know that software is nothing but that is a set of instruction that will going to perform or that will going to make the computer to perform an intended task. It is like what? It is like a command to the computer. By making use of this software, we are communicating with the computer. That is what the reason of using software. Then what do you mean by system software? Then what are the things which comes under system software? What are the programming languages that we are going to use in order to write the system language or a system software programming? We'll see now. That is what system software is: a computer program that will going to controls the computer hardware, and it also going to have a control, or it will going to interact with the application software. So as I discussed, there will be two kinds of software, right? So one is what? System software, and another one is application software. Then why we are going to use this system software? It will going to have a control over the hardware. Along with that, it will going to interact with the application software in order to get done the work. That is what the usage of system software. It is a built-in software, and it is a machine dependent software, and we can't portable. That means what? It cannot be portable. So that is what regarding this system software. So it is a hardware dependent and not portable. So once we are writing this instruction or a set of instruction to a particular machine, then it has to be there itself. It can't be portable. Portable in the sense what? We can't shift it from one system to another system. So this can be manufactured newly. But if you are writing a set of instruction for a particular computer or for a particular hardware, then it will going to make that hardware system to do the task. So instead of that, we can't portable it. So we can't transfer it from one system to another system. This is regarding what? System software, and it is hardware dependent. If it is dependent, then we cannot transfer it, or we cannot keep it from one place to another place. That is what it meant. That is not portable. Then system software will going to provide a convenient environment for a program development and execution. Main intention of my is what? I have to communicate with a computer system. So in order to communicate with a computer system, I have to write the set of instruction. That is what we are going to call that as a software. So by making use of this system software, it will going to gives me the program development space, and it will going to help us for the execution environment. It will going to gives us execution environment, and it also going to provide the environment for program development. System software will going to provide the platform, or it will going to provide the working environment for the development of a program as well as the execution of a program. Okay, that is regarding what? System software. And we are going to use this C++, Visual C++, Pascal and assembly language and C programming in order to develop or in order to build this system software. So anyway, it is what? It is just a collection of a instruction or a characteristics or a we can say that as what? Streaming of instruction. Together we are going to call that as a software. But we are using this kind of software, and it is providing the environment in order to run a program or in order to develop a program and in order to execute the program. Then it will be termed as what? System software. And by making use of a C++, Pascal, and by making use of this assembly language and Visual Studio and Visual C++, these are the language which is helping to develop or which is helping to prepare or to develop this system software. Okay, then this system software is of three types. So it will going to include language translator. So mainly you have to understand one thing: when I'm talking regarding this system software, it is what? Built in, and it will going to compute and it will going to coordinate most of the work of a computer. It will going to have a control over the hardware as well as the application software, how the system must be, how the hardware should get done its work, and how I am supposed to communicate with one software to another software. So this will going to have a control over the hardware. Along with that, it will going to have a control over other software. So that it will be called as system software, and it comprises of what? Language translator and operating system is the best example for this system software. Without operating system we can't do anything. That is what I meant. Without software, computer is a dumb machine. Okay, so we can't do anything without software. So this software is also include this operating system, which is under the scope of this system software, and also we have utilities software, that is what antivirus, and which will going to protect the system from unauthorized users, or which is going to protect the system from the malicious activities. Then we are going to call that kind of software as a utilities software. I'm going to discuss everything in detail in my coming session. Okay, so now you just understand what do you mean by system software and what it comprises of. That is what it includes language translator, and it also includes the operating system, and it also includes the utility software. So now we'll see regarding application software. Software and types of softwares are system software and application software. In system software, that will going to include operating system, utility software will be there, and also it will going to include the language translator. So when I'm working with a computer that understands only zeros and ones, so if I'm writing a instruction or a set of code of an instruction in any of the other language, then it has to be translated into the machine understandable language. So that we require this system computer language or a computer language. That comes under system software. Then what do you mean by application software? Application in the sense what? This application software has been developed in order to perform a particular task. So it will be created, it will be developed only to perform an exact task. So that is what this software has been meant only to perform the intended task. That kind of software will going to termed as application software. But system software will going to provide an environment in order to run all these application software. Why? Because it will going to have an interaction between the application software as well as the hardware. So that system software is mandatory for all the computer system, and application software will be used or will be developed in order to perform a particular task. So application software that has been written to process to perform a specific job. So when you are writing a set of instruction in order to perform a specific task or in order to do the specific job, then we are going to call that set of instruction, or we are going to call that set of program as a application software. Then application software is generally written in the high level languages. So we are going to write a set of instruction that is what mainly meant to do the specific job, that too with the help of this high level programming languages. So I am going to discuss regarding the programming languages. So what do you mean by programming languages? What computer understands? What are the methods we have in order to write a program? Everything I am gonna discuss in my coming slides. So as of now, you just understand one thing. In order to write a set of instruction which is meant to perform a specific task, that is what it means as a application software, then we are going to use higher level programming languages in order to develop this application software. This application software, it mainly focuses on the application. That means what? For what purpose we are writing a code, for what purpose we are generating a set of instruction, and it won't bother regarding the computing of a system. It main focuses only is regarding the application. Application in the sense what? For what purpose we are developing, for what reason we are doing this specific job. So that is what it means regarding this application software, and it will be categorized into two types. So we can create or we can develop an application software as a general purpose software or else specific purpose. Okay, so that is what the two types: application specific, that is what specific purpose, and we have one more type, general purpose. So when I am creating any application or when I am creating any of the software which is to perform a specific task, then it will be called as what? Application software. So when I am building that application software or when I am doing or developing that application software for a specific purpose, then we are going to term that as a application application specific for the exact field or for the exact specification of a job. If you are creating that kind of software will be termed as application specific. If I am creating a set of instruction, or if you are building any of the application software in order to use as a general purpose, then it will be termed as what? General purpose. So two types, general purpose and specific purpose. So we'll see now application specific, that is what? Specific purpose. So if you are building a software for the specific purpose, then it will be termed as application specific. So it is a software that will be created to execute an exact task. When I am creating any of the software in order to perform an exact task, then we are going to use that kind of software as a application specific software that comes under the application software itself. Then if I am creating that software only to perform an exact task, then what could be its disadvantage? Then the usage will be limited. So if I am creating this software only to work with the accounting system, then I cannot use this software in order to do any of the education related purpose, or I cannot use this accounting in order for the entertainment purpose. That is what I'm creating, that accounting software only that will be meant and that will be used only for the accounting and finance department. I can't use that software for any other purpose than the accounting. That is what exactly, that is performing an exact job. That kind of software will be termed as what? Application specific. Then what could be the disadvantage of using that application software? Then its usage will going to be limited, right? So I cannot access it for the another purpose. I cannot use the same software for multiple purpose. Then it will going to be limited resources, or it will going to be limited usage of a task. So it has a limited task. So as I said, we can take the accounting software that mainly meant for what? In order to maintain the accounts. So apart from that, we can't use that accounting software in order to do any of the tasks. That is regarding application specific. Then what if I wanted to have any of the software in order to perform more than one task? So with the help of that particular software, I can perform more than one task. Then that will be termed as what? That is what? General purpose application software. Application software is mainly used to develop or to run a specific task. But when we are creating that any of the software that can be used, that same software can be used for more than one purpose, then it will be termed as what? General purpose. So for general purpose, we can take the example of weighing machine. This weighing machine can be used in order to weigh the fruits, in order to weigh the vegetables, and also human or any of the other things can be measured. Okay, but this BP machine developed only to perform or only to do the intended task or a exact task. That is what it means, application specific and general purpose. So we have to talk regarding the software. So in order to run this BP machine and weighing machine, they have installed some of the software. Okay, so it must be digitalized, then only we are going to call that as a software. So if you are using as per the particular purpose, or if it is used as a general purpose that can be used with many user with many different kinds of activities, then that will be termed as what? General purpose software. This general purpose software is not limited to only one function. By making use of that particular software, we can perform more than one task, or we can do more than one function. So you can take the example of Microsoft Office, okay, that comprises of MS Word, MS PowerPoint will be there, MS Access, okay. So all together we are going to call that as a Microsoft Office package, right? So this can be used for more than one purpose. So we are not going to use that MS Word only to do the typing. I can do the text editing, I can color the images, I can insert an image, I can delete. So mainly it has been built in order to do the intended task, but I am not using, or it is not serving only to do the only one function. So that kind of software will going to be termed as what? Application software. So important question, what do you mean by software? Mention the types of software. That can be asked for 2 mark question. If it is regarding explanation, then you can expect this question for 3 marks as well. So let me get into the next topic. That is what? Here you can see the complete description or a complete classification of a computer software. So computer software, that is of two types. One is what? Application software, and another one is system software. So in the application software, I discussed two types, right? Application specific and general purpose. And when it comes to the system software, there we have a language translator. So under the language translator, we have one more category, that is what? Operating system. Without operating system, mobile or any of the electronic devices, just a dumb machine. So this includes Linux, Windows, and also we have several types of operating system that I will be discussing in my coming session. Okay, so this system software comprises of language translator, that includes compiler, assembler, and interpreter, and this operating system includes set of operating system. Here I have mentioned only two, that is what? Linux and Windows. And also we have utility software, that will going to include antivirus and backup software, mainly in order to secure the data of a computer system. That is what? Utilities software. And also we have loaders and linkers. So everything comes under this system software. This system software comes under computer software. That is what? Two types, application and system software. So this is regarding what? What is software, definition, types, and in each type, what is the two categories of a application software along with an example. So now we'll see the next topic, that is what? Introduction to computer languages. As I said, if I want to get done the work by the computer system, then I have to communicate with a computer, right? Then how we am going to communicate with a computer? That too by making use of commands. I have to communicate with a computer by giving the commands. Then how I am going to give the commands? That is with the help of programming language. So that programming language will going to have some standard syntax. By making use of that syntax, I have to pass a command to the computer system. By making use of that commands, computer will get to know that yes, this is what the user is saying to me. I have to do this job and I'm going to do this process. Then it will going to give us as a result or a output. That is what the usage of computer programming language. It won't understand anything other than zeros and ones. So are we able to remember everything in the zeros and ones? Can we remember what is the value of A in zeros and ones? What is the value of Z in zeros and ones? So somehow it is difficult. We can't do our programming in the language that computer can understand. We have to do the programming in our understandable language. Then I have to translate that into the computer understandable language. That is what the usage of this computer languages. Okay, so programming language. By making use of a programming language, I have to communicate with a computer. This programming language is what? That is a set of rules. So that set of rules will be termed as what? Syntax. If I am writing a program, then I have to follow that set of rules. That set of rules will be termed as what? Syntax. So that user has to follow when they are writing the program. So when we are writing a program, I have to follow the set of rules. That set of rules is nothing but syntax, and to instruct the computer system what operation it has to be performed. I have to say the computer, this is the operation, you have to do this job. I have to, in which methodology I have to communicate with the computer? That too by using programming language. That programming languages will going to have a set of rules that will be termed as syntax. With the help of syntax, I have to write a program, and that will going to mix the computer in order to do the intended task. That is what the usage of programming language. Then what are the categories of programming languages we have? It will be classified into two categories. One is what? Low level language and high level language. Under the category of this lower level language, there we have machine level language and assembly level language. So in the high level programming languages, it comprises of what? General purpose language and specific purpose language. Computer programming languages, two categories. One is low level language and another one is high level language. In low level language, we we have two categories, that is what? Machine level and assembly level language. In high level programming languages, it can be what? We are going to use this higher level programming languages that can be based on what? General purpose language or specific purpose language. If it is general purpose language, then that include basic, Pascal and C programming. And if you are using a specific purpose language of this higher level programming languages, then that includes COBOL, Fortran and C++. So COBOL in the sense what? Common business oriented language. So Fortran, formula translator and C++. So here also we are going to use this basic and Pascal and C language as a general purpose language. So this basic Pascal and C++, everything has been used in order to develop the system software that will going to insist the computer. By making use of all these programming languages, we are going to have a set of instruction that will be termed as computer software. Then here, these are the two categories of a programming language. So now we'll see regarding this machine level language. So, as I discussed, computer understands only zeros and ones. So, if it is zeros and ones, then that will be termed as what? Binary language. So, if it is a binary language, that is what? Machine understandable programming languages. So, this is machine level languages. It's a fundamental language of a computer. What is the mother tongue of a computer? That is what? Machine level language. That includes zeros and ones. So, this machine level languages can be written by making use of a binary numbers. If it is a binary number, then it will going to include zeros and ones. So with the help of zeros and ones, we are going to write the instruction to the computer in order to do the intended task. That is what it means regarding the machine level language. A program written in the machine level language, then that will be called as what? Machine code. I am writing a program. I am writing a code that what computer can understand. Then we are going to call that kind of programming, or when we are writing a program in a machine level language, then that will be termed as what? Machine code. Okay, the instruction provided in the machine level languages are directly going to be understood by the computer. How it will going to understood by the computer directly? Why? Because we are writing a programming instruction by making use of zeros and ones. So, if I am writing it in a machine understandable language, then it is no need of translating it into machine understandable form. Why? Because it is already in the machine understandable form itself. That is what the reason. It will be more convenient for the user and it will be more faster than any of other programming languages. But for the human beings, for the people, one who is writing a programming by making use of zeros and ones, somehow that will be difficult. So if we missed any of the zeros and ones, then we will be in the trouble. So computer won't get the instruction as our requirement, then it will going to give the result as not of our requirement. That is what one of the disadvantage. So this will going to be understood by the computer and converted into electrical signals in order to run the computer. So if I am writing a program by making use of zeros and ones, then that can be directly understood by the computer and it will just going to generate a electric signal. So that is what, by making use of ones and zeros. So if it is 1, then that will going to termed as on. If it is 0, that will be termed as off or low, and it will be considered as high or on. So when the signals are high, when the signals are low, by making use of all those electrical pulses, it will going to perform the intended task. So this is regarding what? Machine level language. And what is this machine level language comprises of, and how we are going to write a program in order to add two numbers by making use of this machine level language, we'll see now. So here I have a statement and what is the action that it is performing. Okay, so here you can see that it comprises of 4 codes and it comprises of 8 digits. Everything is what? Zeros and ones, because we are dealing with machine level language. So if you just look into this zeros and ones, do you understand anything? But just looking into this zeros and ones, somehow it is feeling difficulty, right? We couldn't understand what is there in these zeros and ones. It is not only related to numbers. It can be of any of the action. That means we are adding, we are subtracting, we are doing some of the complex tasks. Everything can be done. But you're just looking into these zeros and ones. Can you understand what is happening inside? No. Why? Because it can be understandable only by the computer system, but for the human being somehow it will be difficulty to understand. So here you can see that here I have a statement and this indicates what is the action that it is performing. So here first we have to load the data. What we are doing? I am doing the programming, or we are writing a program in a machine level language in order to add two numbers. I have to take the data. What is the number that I needed to add? After that, add the contents. So I have to load the data, then I have to add the content. So if I am taking two numbers, then I have to add those two numbers. So after adding of the content, I have to store it somewhere. That is what store the resultant. So first I have to load the data, what is the number, then I have to add those two numbers and that will be stored as a result. Then we have to stop our programming. So for that we are going to use all as a zeros. That is what it meant, stop. So this is the only the easy thing that we can understand when we are dealing with a machine level programming language. So this is just an example how we are going to write a code in machine level programming language. Then what is this machine level programming language comprises of? So it will going to have two parts. So this machine level programming languages will going to have two parts. One is opcode and another one is operand. So opcode is nothing but operational code. OP is nothing but operational. Okay, so code in the sense what is the operation it is performing. That is what, whether it is performing addition, subtraction, that is what it means, operation code. So next we have operand. Operand is nothing but address or location. On which location, on which data we are performing the addition, subtraction, multiplication or any of the other arithmetic computations, or it could be anything. Okay, so it comprises of opcode and operand. So we'll see here, first 4-bit will going to represent the opcode. So if you just look here, it has 4 digits separately and we have 8 digits in another part. So it comprises of two parts. One is opcode and another one is what? Operand. First 4 digit will going to represent the opcode and next 8 digit will going to represent the operand. So if it is opcode, that will going to say the kind of operation what we are doing, whether we are performing loading, moving or storing of the data. Then last 8-bit will going to represent the operand, that will going to denote the address. When I am creating or when I am having any of the variables or a data, so in the memory location it will going to be stored somewhere else. So this operand or this operand will going to give me the address of that data. By making use of that address, I can fetch the data, I can copy the data, I can move and store that kind of data. Opcode specify the type of operation and operand specify where it is. So where it is in the computer's memory location. So if I get to know the location of that data, then only it will be possible for me to load, move or to do any of the tasks. That is what the reason of having this opcode and operand. So now you just think, what are the advantages that we are going to get by making use of this machine level language? Is it easy for us? For us, it is not easy, but it will be easy and it will be the convenient method for a computer. So that it will going to be have the advantage that it can be directly typed and executed and no compilation or a translation is required. If I am talking to the computer in the language that it can understand, then what is the need of doing this conversions or a compilation or any of the translation? That doesn't require. Why? Because I'm just simply directly talking to the computer with the language that it can understand. Then no need of doing any of the compilation, no need of checking of errors and no need of translating anything. So this will be one of the advantage and it can be directly typed. So it is not dependent on any of the programming languages. So it is what directly typed and we are just going to directly run it and no need of compilation or no need of translation of any other languages into machine understandable language. Then what could be the disadvantage? So these instructions are machine level languages or machine dependent. Only that computer can understand. If I am writing any of zeros and ones as a programming language, then it is machine dependent. So if I am writing any of the code for machine A, then that machine A only can run by making use of that instruction. Machine B can't run. Why? Because that is what machine dependent. I am writing a instruction or I am giving a code only to the machine A. I can't do it with the machine B. So that it will be what? Machine dependent, and it is difficult to program, modify and debug the errors. So if everything is zeros and ones, then we will get confused. I won't get to know what is the error, where did I miss 0 and 1. So instead of writing 1, if I have written 0, then that could also be one of the difficulty. I cannot able to find the program where we are lagging and where we are getting the errors. Somehow it will going to be difficult in order to the modification as well as debugging of errors. Checking and correcting of errors will be termed as what? Debugging of an errors. So this is regarding what? Machine level language. So in the machine level language or in the lower level language, we have one more programming language, right? That is what? Assembly level language. If you just remember the disadvantages of machine level languages, we can't remember zeros and ones all the time, and it is somehow difficult to debug, somehow difficult to maintain, and in order to develop a program, in order to overcome all those difficulties, we have brought up a new concept or a new programming language under the scope of lower level language, that is what? Assembly level language. So in this, instead of using zeros and ones, we have used some of the symbols. So that symbol will be termed as what? Mnemonics. So that mnemonics, if you are writing a program by making use of a symbols or a mnemonics, then we are going to call that as a assembly level programming language. So assembly level programming language is a lower level programming language that will going to allows the user to write a program using letters, words and symbol. So together I can call that as a mnemonics. So M will be silent here. It will be pronounced as what? Mnemonics. That will going to written as an instruction, that too with the help of letters, words and symbols. Then that kind of programming languages will be termed as what? Mnemonic language or a symbolic language or a assembly level language. A program written in the assembly level language will be termed as assembly code. If I am writing using zeros and ones, then that is machine code. If I am writing by making use of the symbols or any of the letters, characters or words, then it will be termed as what? Assembly code. So you can see the example here. Here also I am adding two numbers, that too with the help of this assembly level language. So which is more convenient, whether dealing with zeros and ones or dealing with symbols or any of the words. So here you can see the statement and what is the action that it is performing? STA. So STA in the sense what? Load the data to the accumulator. First we have to load what is the data in order to add. Right? After that, add B. So I have A. So for that accumulator, I have to add the content of this B. Then it will going to be A plus B. So where I am supposed to store, that has to be takes place in the C. Then I have to print the value of this C and I have to stop. That is what I am meant here. Add B is nothing but add the content of B to the accumulator. In the accumulator, we have a value of A and strC. So I am storing the result in the location C. After adding A and B, that will be stored in the location called C. And where is the resultant right now? Whether it is in A or B or C, it is in the location of C. So that it has to print the resultant by making use of this PRT-C. PRT in the sense print and STR in the sense what? Store. And STA in the sense what? Store. That is what we have to load the content to the accumulator. Okay. So in order to stop, HLT, that is halt. Halt in the sense stop. Okay. So this is how we are going to write a program by making use of this assembly level language. So the translator program that converts an assembly level language into machine understandable code, then it will be considered as what? Assembler. Why I need to convert this assembly level language into machine level language? As we all know that computer understands zeros and ones. So if I have written a code in terms of using any of the symbols or any of the letters and any of the words, then it cannot be understood by the computer. Then I have to translate that any of the symbols into machine understandable form. For that we require a translator. So if I am talking in the Spanish, then if you cannot understand, then you are going to turn your CC. Okay, that caption will going to give, or it will going to give my words as a English language or that language that you are going to select. That means what? It is translating my words into your understandable language. So in the same way, computer is also going to translate this assembly level programming language into machine understandable language. That translator will be termed as what? Assembler. Okay. Then what are the advantages of using this assembly level language? That is what? Mnemonics code are easy to remember, and it will be easy to understand, and it will be easy to modify and debug. So anyway, we have used this assembly level language in order to overcome the disadvantage of machine level language. So there we couldn't remember, and we cannot do the debugging easily and development, and if any modification is required, then somehow that was difficult. But in assembly level language, everything is like symbols, and we can remember a word. So we can remember a symbol. Symbols is nothing but what? Words or any of the symbols. So it will going to be easy to remember, and if I want to remember, or if I want to do any of the modification, and if I want to get to know where is my errors and how can I debug it, everything will going to be easy in this assembly level language. Then what is the disadvantage? That is what? These level languages or mnemonics that is related to symbols, right? So that machine dependent. So why we are going to call this assembly level language as a independent, machine dependent? For example, if you consider this is a machine or a computer system A1, I am going to do the programming by making use of this assembly level language. So I cannot use the same code in order to perform the operation in A2. If I wanted to perform the operation in A2 machine, then again I have to write the symbolic code for that A2. I cannot work with the symbolic code of A1 with A2. That is what it is represented as a machine dependent. That can also be one of the disadvantage. And assembly level language programming takes longer to code. Everything what it is related to symbol, I have to do the work, and we have to do everything with the help of symbols. So somehow it will going to take the time, and also I have to translate that assembly level language into machine level language. Then also it will going to take the time. This is regarding assembly level language and example, advantage and disadvantage. So here also we have disadvantage, right? It is machine dependent, main disadvantage. If it is machine dependent, then there will be less accessibility, right? After that it will be somehow slow. So in order to improve all these things, now we have come up with new programming language, that is what called higher level programming languages. That is high level programming languages. So in machine level languages, zeros and ones. So in assembly level languages, some symbols we are going to use. So in high level languages, we are going to write the program in the English statements. So that is what it made higher level languages as a popular one. So a language designed to make programming easier by making use of a familiar English word and a symbols. Here also we are going to use a symbols. This is just an extended version of the assembly level language, and also we are going to use English words. So in order to give the commands to the computer system. High level languages used English like language and which are easier to learn and use. So if you are writing a commands in the English, then it will be easier to learn and also easy to use. So that is what one of the main advantages of having this high level programming language. So this is mainly machine independent. If I am writing a set of instruction for a particular machine called A1, same instruction can be used for A2, A3. That is what the different types of operating system, different types of computer. That is what it can be, micro, mini, mainframe, any type of computer it can be. But I can use or I can run the same program in all the types of environment with all the types of operating system. That is what make this higher level programming languages more popular. Mainly it is because of machine independent. So here, which are the languages that comes under these higher level languages. That includes C, C++, Java, Fortran, QBasic and Pascal. These are the languages which comes under higher level programming language. Then here I have one of the example to make you understand how we are going to add two numbers by making use of programming language called C++. C++ is also comes under higher level language. Okay, C in is used to take the input and C out is used to display the output. For example, here I have C in A and B. So in order to take A and B, first I have to declare. So let me take A, B, C. A and B are the two values and C is required in order to store the value of A and B after addition. So after that, C out, I can ask the value for A and B, or else I can take C in directly, C in A and another input is B. So when I am writing this C in, it will going to blink the cursor in the output screen. Then I have to give the value for A and B. So here C in is nothing but console input. C out is nothing but console output. Then after taking the input from the user, I have to do the addition. That is what? A plus B. Once I am done with addition, I have to store this in any of the variable that will be taken as C here. Or else you can also take this as any of the name called sum or add. So anything it could be. Once I am done with processing, I have to display it on a screen. So, what is the sum of A and B? Sum is equal to, what is the value where it has been stored? That has been stored in the variable called C. So, that I have to use C, then we have to close the program. So, if you just consider machine level language, assembly level language and this higher level programming language. So which is more convenient in order to remember or in order to do the modification and in order to do the debugging or checking and correcting of errors? That is what? Higher level programming languages. Why? Because it is in the English level language that we can easily understand, that we can do the modification easily. That is what the reason of having this higher level programming language. So this programming level language has to be converted into machine understandable language. So computer doesn't understand the symbols or any of the English word. It has to be converted into machine understandable form. Okay, that you have to remember. For that we require a compiler. So this computer or a compiler will going to do the conversion from higher level programming languages into machine level understandable programming language. That is what it means, compiler. So a translator program that converts high level programming language into the machine level programming code or a machine code, then that will be termed as compiler. So we are going to discuss regarding the compiler, assembler, linkers, loader, everything in detail in my coming session. So as of now, you just understand what is machine level language and what are the advantage, disadvantage, assembly level language as well as this higher level programming language. Then what is the advantage of this higher level language? Mainly it is machine independent and easy to learn and easy to understand. And we can do the modification easily and debugging of that program will be easier. Okay, these are the advantages. If you are having advantages, then there must be disadvantages too, right? So this HLL, that is higher level language, is slower in execution. Why it is slower in execution? Because computer directly can't understand any of the code which is written in the higher level language. I have to do the conversion from higher level languages into machine understandable language. So the conversion will going to take a time. If it is taking a time, then execution time is also going to be enhanced, so that it will be slower in the execution, and this requires compiler. So in order to make the computer understand the code of this higher level language, we need a conversion. For that conversion we require compiler that will going to convert source code into object code. So object code is nothing but machine level code or a machine code. Source code is nothing but human understandable code. And this higher level language take more time to execute and require more memory space. So these are the disadvantages of having this higher level programming language. I hope you all understood with my today's session. In my next session, we are going to learn about language translator. There it includes compiler, interpreter, as well as the assembler. And also I am going to discuss regarding the linkers and loaders. And also we are going to learn with utilities software. So it's all about today's session. Let me meet you in the next session with the continuation of this chapter itself. Until that, keep learning, keep on growing. Thank you.